Let's go. Are we ready? How are we doing, everybody? My name is Tyrone E. Wilson. Welcome to the DC Cybersecurity's Professionals Meetup, a virtual meetup. And we're going to discuss burning out in cybersecurity when passion isn't enough. So, for those who don't know me, I am Tyrone E. Wilson. I am the founder and CEO of Cover6 Solutions. Cover6 Solutions is the primary organizers of the DC Cybersecurity Professionals Meetup Group. And I wanted to have a conversation. One, to welcome you all back, to let you all know that although I've been quiet and away, like, you all never stopped mattering to me. If you know anything about me and how I feel about you all and anyone that I get to interact with, you know that it's very important to me. I would like this talk to be conversational. So at any point, feel free to put comments in the comment section. I will find ways to add you to the conversation when relevant. And as always, I want to create a space and environment for all of us. So I want to talk about, how it all started and why it all started. It was because I joined the military back in 1996. So I'm almost 50. I've been in this tech game, cybersecurity game, for almost 3 decades. And I was fortunate enough to be in some really good units while in the military, learned a lot of technical skills while in the military. But in the military, I was also deployed twice to Iraq. So some of it wasn't the greatest. I'm not going to say that, I was in other countries kicking down doors and letting off shots, so to speak, but I did do a lot of traveling. I did get to see some things, and I did get to worry about my life almost every day, and things got really, really real for me on a number of occasions. Moving forward, I ended up starting the meetup group in January of 2012. So in addition to me having multiple positions in the government, being cleared, learning the skills from the multiple deployments in the military, I started the group in January of 2012. It took 9 months to get 100 members, and then I stuck with it. Things started moving a lot better, and we ended up getting 100 new members a month. I started to enjoy it. We started having multiple meetups a month, and if you were around at that time, things would have seemed really, really great for us. We started creating workshops, from the pen tester prep to the SOC analyst prep to the intro to cyber, and I was enjoying the entrepreneurial grind. And it felt really, really good to make progress, to be in the know, to be really entrenched in the community, to have some influence in the community. And although it was tough mentally, emotionally, and physically, I felt as though that it was just part of the process. And when you're in it, you don't necessarily realize that it's getting to you, because you just get energy to fight for another day. And then you realize your why. And you all were my why. So getting up early, putting content together, trying to be the best I can be was what kept me going. And I started to understand my purpose in life. And I felt like my purpose was to be the best father I could be and to help as many people as I can with the knowledge that I have, uh, whether that be technical knowledge, knowledge of life, knowledge of circumstances, experiences, financial, whatever I can provide. I've never been one to keep that away from anyone. And if you know me, then you know I've really tried to help as many people as I can. And it's so good to see some familiar names up there, folks that have been around for a while. So I want to talk about like what the progress felt like and looked like to me. Um, the progress was the growth in the meetup group. On the back end, being an administrator of the group, you're able to see the numbers and the statistics, and you can see the growth chart. And when I look back at it and I can see the chart going up and down, the chart is literally a reflection of how my life was going. And it was really, really weird. Um, the group and creating the meetups was the one thing that I can always count on to bring me out of a funk. Sometimes you don't realize that you're in a funk or that you're anxious or depressed. Um, but whenever I was feeling down, I would always schedule a meetup. And this was in addition to having a job or not having a job or just trying to start um, a company. And it felt really, really good. So that is kind of the backstory on the meetup and how we exist and why Cover6 Solutions exists as a whole. Because during the meetups, I would offer the courses and people would recommend me for projects. These projects got bigger and bigger and eventually turned into contracts. Now we have a full-fledged company. And now I'm trying to decide whether to run the company or to uh, work full time. And trying to go back and forth, I had to realize that because I had the ability to obtain a job if I needed one, and not saying that to get the big head, but I was technically sound and I was cleared in the DMV area. So getting a position wasn't going to be overly difficult. But I knew that if I had that mindset, then I wouldn't put 110% into starting the company. So there were times where I purposely didn't work in order to motivate me to get the company going. And that, I think, was part of the first instance of feeling some of the burden of trying to start a company. So it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I also want to talk about the mental health aspect of it all and how and why I became a mental health advocate. As you may or may not know, I was on a reality TV show about dating. And in the first date, I disclosed the fact that the military gave me uh, a disability rating for PTSD. And if you don't know, there's groups that exist that do nothing but talk about the show. And there was a lot of negative comments about me disclosing that information. And I felt like that was part of the problem because one, I didn't see it as a negative for me. And then I also felt like if finding out that there's things that happened in my past that affect me now is the worst thing that you're going to find out about me, then why not disclose that so you can have the opportunity to figure out what you want to do? So, with that being said, I actually started uh, the mental health advocate journey of my life. And I learned a bunch of different things about myself. And during this time, COVID also happened. So there was another span of my life where I had to consider death as an option every single day of my life. So for me, from a mental and an emotional aspect, that COVID time period felt like my third deployment. And that's when the anxiety really got to me. But then that was also the time that I was really, really grinding because a lot of things were remote, and that gave us the opportunity to do a lot of remote classes, a lot of remote meetups. A lot of interviews were going on at that time. A lot of remote conferences were going on at the time. So the grind felt good, but you're still in your home, not going outside, still thinking about death, wearing a mask every day, and becoming more and more anxious. So that was another phase. In September of 2022, I got a call about my mom saying that something had happened. She had a fall and they needed to do a brain biopsy. Um, I dropped everything that day and I woke up in the hospital the next day. She was the first person I saw, uh, and I never left her side. So dropping everything from uh, my place in Virginia, moving to Memphis, and trying to operate as best I can from Memphis. If you've ever been a caretaker, having the utmost respect for you or for anyone else involved in the caretaker life. It is not for the weak, but I can assure you that during that journey, I learned so much about my mom, so much about myself, and I was able to experience all of the stages of grief. I was able to learn from it, and then I was able to give my perspective and feedback on it. I know this might sound crazy, but sometimes I feel like everyone should experience a journey like that because it's very, very enlightening. And because of the way that I approached it, like I wanted to learn, I wanted to observe, I wanted to really live in it. But it also made me realize that giving that so much attention and taking care of my mom and taking care of myself, I stepped away from the meetup group. I kind of stepped away from building the company, and being away for a week made me anxious. But as more time started to go by, stepping away started to feel good. And there were some points where I didn't want to come back. There were some points where I felt like everyone would understand. And then there were some points where I felt like I don't have to explain if that all makes sense. Um, but I knew I couldn't stay away forever. You know, we were building something for over 10 years, and to just walk away wouldn't be uh, the mission. It wasn't the goal. It was never the goal. The goal, if you've ever been to any of my talks or classes, is to, be with you forever through your entire career because your success has always been my reward. And I love hearing your stories of success. So, being here today, there's some things that I wanted to talk about and mention some things that I wish I would have known sooner. One is paying attention to myself and paying attention to how I was feeling and realizing that it's okay to step away, even in small increments, to step away earlier. You're not really missing anything. Your job uh, is not gonna crumble without you, no matter what you may think. Um, your replacement is probably already in the building, so it's okay. I wish that I was able to take the emotional journey in learning about myself earlier in life. And I think it would have helped me understand why the things were affecting me the way they were. And that meant during the doing the discovery on my biological parents. I feel like that's very important. And if anyone has the opportunity to have deep conversations with their biological parents, you should do that, because I feel like it ultimately makes you who you are. They're raising you based off of how they were raised. So getting an understanding of all of that helps you understand why you are the way you are at a deeper, more subconscious level. I wish that I didn't have to constantly worry about what people were going to think of me from a public perspective. And just knowing that I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm not having any negative effect on anyone, I'm still being a good person, and that's enough. You know, it may feel like a competitive world. Um, and that's where you feel like you're not doing enough or you're not good enough, but you are good enough. And you shouldn't feel um, any negativity towards stepping away or disclosing that you are affected negatively by your environment or what's going on. There was a comment in my LinkedIn. Um, and the comment was about them admiring me for being candid and actually having this conversation, where again, I don't really see it as a negative. So, as you may or may not know, the caretaker journey ended last November. And I took some more time off to really get a feel for myself and the way forward. I removed myself from social media for the most part. But last weekend, I worked on my tan in the Grand Cayman. And I said, all right, everything after this is going to be full go. It's the first Mother's Day without my mom. And I have since moved my office to her old bedroom. And now I get to embrace all of those feelings and emotions and the energy that's in this room. And I know that it's a part of life. I know loss is a part of life. Um, but I was really, really able to dwell on it and see the entire process and feel vulnerability, love, and all that stuff from another human being. So yeah, for anyone else who's ever experienced any type of loss or negativity, anxiety, PTSD, or any of the mental health aspects of life, I want you to know that I do feel you. I understand, I empathize with you, and you shouldn't see it as a negative. And I believe we should have more conversations about this. So for anyone that's feeling the burnout in their current career or their current life, take that time off. Plan the trip, go to bed early, watch that show if you want, wake up late if you want. Even a half a day of PTO can help you reset. I would say get in the gym, learn about anxiety, learn about get some books. There was a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And just get to know yourself. And I think your future will be a whole lot better. So moving forward, some things that I feel that you can focus on in addition to that, in addition to getting in the gym, and I would say just learn about yourself. Focus on yourself. Focus on the great things in yourself. And I feel like those you will attract the things that you are working towards. And yes, Tanya, losing kids is totally different. I can't even imagine that. Other ways to do that, if you're not focusing on yourself, um, well, in addition to focusing on yourself, is to surround yourself with as many positive people as you can. You can get into meetups like this. You can try to find mentors, friends that are doing really well, getting out there and network, do some solo travel if you want, go to those networking events if you want, and just you don't really have to overthink it. Probably 90% of the room is overthinking it. And if you walk into it uh, with a lighter frame of mind, you'll be so much better. Yeah, so, with that being said, we back. we back. We're back. The meetup group is back. The company is back. I am so grateful for everyone that has stuck with us and continue to support us through the times that we weren't doing anything, but was still in the Discord, chopping it up and chatting it up and still sending the words of encouragement. Even if I did post a little bit on social media, I totally appreciate you all. I really, really do. Dave, what's going on? Good to see you, man. Ben, I think Ben was in the first class, one of my first classes. My cousin, hey cuz, thank you so much. Was also my first babysitter, so thank you so much for the support. Jay, yeah, man, the burnout is real. The community is great, though. I must say, being in the community is great. For anyone that's going to be in the Virginia area, definitely look us up. We were at the B-Sides and Nova conference for the last conference that they did have. So it's been fun. Alex, thank you so much. If anyone has ever been to the meetups or the virtual space, you have definitely seen Alex's name. Alex has been instrumental, very instrumental in Cover6, serving as the VP of operations for Cover6. So Alex has pretty much seen it all. Alex has seen it all. So Alex, I cannot even thank you enough. I can't thank you enough. Oh, Dave, I appreciate that. I really do. So I will end up announcing another meetup after this. It's most likely going to be the Breaking Into Cyber meetup with some updates for 2025. The website is up. So if you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, you can subscribe to the newsletter on the website. I didn't want this to be about the company or about the meetup. I really wanted it to be a candid conversation, but I'm just throwing in some notes about future meetups and the way forward. So there are links in the description to our Discord channel, and the website and the YouTube channel, which you're already on. Some of you may be tuning in from LinkedIn or Facebook, and I appreciate you all. If anyone has any questions for me right now, either personal questions for me or how I could help you, I would take the next 5 to 10 minutes answering the questions that you have, to the best of my ability. All right, I'll give it another minute and we'll close off. So it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you haven't followed me on my personal channel, we may end up doing some talks before the month is over. So uh, be on the lookout for that. If anything else comes up, feel free to add it in the comments. I will respond to all the comments. So if you didn't get a chance to ask a question here tonight, then that is totally fine. All right. Ask it in the comments. I will get to it. I'm pretty sure someone else in the community will get to it as well. And once again, we're back. I really, really appreciate you all for listening to my story. There will be more. So again, have a good night, everybody.